Hi, my name is Will Nunziata, and I'm a New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film, and I'm also a proud FENIX Global Artist Ambassador. Today, I am thrilled to be speaking with the acclaimed folk pop singer and songwriter based in Nashville, Tennessee. Her name, Halley Neal. On June the 4th, Halley releases her self-titled debut album. I had a blast speaking with Halley the other day. Here is our interview. Well, hello, Halley. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Well, I am so excited to be speaking with you and so grateful that our mutual friend Tucker introduced us.
Me too.
You are about to blow up, my friend. You
Aw.
have your self-titled debut album coming out June 4th, Halley Neal. I want to know all about that, but first, I want to know where you grew up and when you realized you had this incredible singing voice.
Oh, well, thank you.
You
Um,
do.
that's very sweet. I appreciate it. I grew up in Connecticut in a really small town. The like common phrase was more cows than people. Like a lot of cows, a lot of farms, and not a lot of music. So I did a bunch of community theater as a kid, and I just always like really gravitated towards it. And because our whole school system was so small, I was kind of the only one who was super interested in it. And then when I graduated from high school, I was like, I'm gonna run with this. Like, this is fun. This is my thing. And so I moved to Boston, and I went to a music school in Boston, Berklee, and the rest is history.
Well, I love Boston. I went to school in Boston myself.
Oh, really?
I went to Boston College.
Cool. I
So
lived out in Brighton, right near Boston
oh,
College.
oh, hello.
Yeah.
Well, you're far younger than me. I'd say we crossed paths, but we didn't. However, we are crossing paths now, and
We
obviously those
are.
who know, Berklee School of Music is one of the preeminent schools for music in not only the country, but the world. And you just kind of went off to the races, my friend. You shortly thereafter, graduating Berklee School of Music, went and moved to Nashville. And
Mhm.
what I love so much about you, Halley, not only because of your incredible talent, but you're someone who literally takes life, but also your career by the horns and just doesn't wait for anyone. And you've created already your own path. I want to know when you decided to just do the thing and create your own album that you will be releasing on June the 4th.
Yeah. Well, I had a couple of roommates in college for the last 3 years of school, and one of them was she's this amazing songwriter, and so she was writing all of these songs, and I was like, I feel like I need to sing your songs, and she was like, I feel like you need to sing my songs too. So we started writing together a lot, and we formed a duo. So all throughout college, we released some music as this duo. We actually released a song that a couple of years ago. It was our last song that we did together that got a little bit of popularity on Tik Tok, which was kind of crazy. And it's this like super pop, like hooky song, which is like totally different from this album that I just did. But that was super fun and like such an interesting, wild journey to watch that song blow up a little bit. But yeah, basically my senior year of college, I decided that I wanted to start recording an album, and I had a producer friend at school she's an amazing guitar player, and I was like, the three of us can do this, like female power. We're gonna write all the songs, we're gonna record all the songs, all of us women, and I'm super proud that my like core squad, I had some men involved like throughout the entire process, but my core squad was me and my two girls, which was just so awesome, and I'm so proud.
I love that, Halley. And also, I want to know, if you can just give us a little sneak peek about the album. Is there
Yeah.
female empowerment all over it? Like, what would you say is kind of like the thesis of the album, and then how the songs maybe traverse from that?
Yeah. So the record definitely covers a series of different relationship like relationship woes, some might say, of the last couple of years of my college time. And, you know, it sort of spans from like friendships to like close relationships, like romantic relationships, and kind of other types of relationships in between. And it was funny because right around the time that we really started recording and diving into a bunch of the song, like recording most of the songs, I started dating my current boyfriend, and now we've been dating for almost 2 years. So, which goes to show how long I've spent making this record. But it's funny, like looking back at the record and thinking about all of the, you know, I was so sad about this or that, and this person hurt me. And I have all these songs about like being heard and, you know, figuring myself out. And it's just funny because I kind of wanted to end the whole process with this like love song, and just to sort of, you know, shout out my current state of my life. And so
I love that.
Yeah, I sat with my co-writer Susie, and I was like, let's write a love song. And we wrote a couple of love songs, and I was like, they're not quite right. I really wanted to emulate this song called Songbird by Fleetwood Mac. And it's just, I just think it's like the most beautiful love song ever. It's just so like effortlessly perfect. And so I was like, you know what, maybe I should just record a cover of that song and close the record with Songbird. So that's what I did. And it was the last song that I recorded. It was just a super special like session. We did it at my friend who mixed the record. We did it at his house, and it was just super easy, me and a piano, and I just sang the song, and it just feels like the perfect kind of closing to this sort of like mess of relationship stories, all leading to this beautiful song by Fleetwood Mac.
Well, I love that too, Halley, because, you know, I love that in this case, like life imitated your art in a sense, or might be the other way around, in that you literally were writing about what you had gone through, but you were also in the midst, while writing this album and curating this project, a beautiful relationship.
Right.
So the fact that you get to button it not only on a high point, because that's part of your truth, but also you sang a song and covered a song from a group that was very much a part of your early artistry years, whether it be, you know, because I know that Fleetwood Mac and Carole King are two of your North Stars. So I would love to go into that, you know, because I can only imagine growing up, you're a kid of the millennials or whatever, I don't know what they call it. You're probably,
I'm not sure either, to be honest.
You're a youngin', but I can imagine that like while everyone was listening to, you know, Britney Spears and NSYNC, you were bopping to Carole King and Fleetwood Mac. So I'd love to even dive into that, how that even came about for you.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I love my Britney. Don't get me wrong.
Don't we all?
Don't we all? Don't we all? Of course. But
you vibed with you know, a different kind of.
Definitely. I grew up, my parents were really into music, and my dad actually like played in a dad rock cover band when I was like in middle school. And they were always playing music from the 70s. They really love like Grateful Dead and the Beatles, and my mom loves James Taylor and Fleetwood Mac. And so I grew up listening to like the sort of like rockin' full band, I guess it was pop music back in the day, but now if we look back on it, sort of like classic rock. And that was like the soundtrack to my life growing up. And so then when I got to college, I was like, I want to do pop music. So when I was doing that duo in college, we sort of went the pop music route. And then finally, I settled into this like solo artist career. And I was like, you know, I just want to like stick to my roots, the music that really like always inspired me, and the music that I always like fall back on. So I refer to my genre as folk pop. because I draw
I
inspiration
love that.
from, yeah, I think that is like a genre.
It is, but also,
um,
Halley, sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're good.
you're so unapologetically you. You know, you're not going to be a second-rate version of someone else. You are a first-rate
Oh,
version of yourself, and the fact that you have
thank you.
taken your bliss, your truth, but have yes-anded it, to use an improv term, God bless. But you know,
God bless.
you use it as your foundation, and so I love that, and because I'm sure that there are going to be people of all ages, but especially young girls out there, to now look to you as you looked to Carole and Fleetwood Mac and being
Definitely.
like, wait, because in essence, Halley, you're kind of creating your own genre.
Yeah, in a way, you know, of course I'm drawing inspiration from all the artists that I love. But I'd like to think that I'm sort of modernizing it a little bit, and you know, I'm adding like a bunch of layered vocals, and you know, like there are some elements of pop production, but it's all acoustic instruments, so like live instruments. Most of it was recorded full band, like in the same room, or at least at the same time. Some
Uh,
were isolated, so it's sort of got that like 70s full band sound, but the writing is a little bit pop influence, so it draws from a lot of different musical styles and musical moments in my life, for sure.
I love that. Well, I would definitely also call it a fusion. You know, this also
Yeah.
looking back to look forward. And I want to talk a little bit about your association with Guild Guitars.
Yeah.
I know that they have a factory session coming out, and we're going to play a little clip of you within that. I would love to know about how that association happened.
Yeah, so around the time of quarantine, I decided that I needed to like really dive into my guitar playing. And so I reached out to Guild through like a mutual connection, and was able to get a couple of guitars sent to me just to like try out during quarantine, which was so amazing and so cool. And they invited me out to do a factory session. We recorded it back in October, sort of in preparation for my album. And then they're gonna basically I went into this really cool space in the back of their factory in Oxnard, California, and just recorded a stripped down like acoustic set. They actually premiered this set at NAMM, the NAMM show, but it was virtual this year in January, and then they're going to release the factory session, is what they're calling it. It's like a new series for them, I think in July. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
And before I ask you my final question, I just want to remind the audience that below this video, you could read more about Halley Neal below this video. And on June the 4th, her debut self-titled album comes out. Halley, I want to know, you know, specifically the young Halleys of the world who are going to pick up your album. What do you want the takeaway to be after they listen to it?
I think I spent a lot of my like teen years and even into my early 20s trying to figure out like exactly who I was and exactly what I wanted in a partner, or exactly who I wanted to spend my time with. And like being in a super happy relationship now, looking back on this record of sort of experiences and sad times and, you know, different types of relationships that I wrote about, I think I wish I told myself to just like live in it and just be patient and just like look around and take it all in and just like let it happen. Because looking back on it, I'm so proud and I'm so like excited and happy to look back on these sad times, or to look back on these times when I felt really hurt, because I grew so much from it. And I wish I had known that I just needed to like live in it and really embrace it and just be patient, because it all sort of evolves, and it evolves you, and it brings you to your next step. And that's just life, baby.
I love it. You know, there's that whole notion of like letting go of the how and just
Mm-hmm.
being. It's obviously a sentiment that I'm sure people are trying to figure out now more than ever. And so what a perfect time for your self-titled debut album, Halley Neal, June the
Yeah.
4th. Ladies and gentlemen, grab one. I am going to be buying quite a few. And I am so excited, Halley, to have met you. Thank you so much for your time
Thank you
today.
so much.
Digital age, artists and bands struggle to make a living. In fact, only a small number of artists can live off their craft. For the 98% of artists that don't have the luxury of being signed to a label, it's tough. But artists deserve to live off their art. Wherever you are around the world, appreciation of music does not change. FENIX brings bands and their fans together, whilst allowing bands to properly monetize their passion. The FENIX app will directly connect bands and fans with no need for middlemen. We're utilizing the blockchain to give the power back to the artist once and for all. Join FENIX, join the change.